Well, hello, welcome to another MFL resource video. I'm getting into the hang of these things now, and I'm sure you're getting used to my very own imaginative starter sequence. Maybe we'll get something a bit more thematic if and only if these videos ever hit the big leagues and become something slightly more than high tech, as they definitely are at the minute. Anyway, quick one today. I've started my half term. I've got a newborn baby, but I take every minute I can when the family is kind of chilling out or hibernating or asleep early mornings to just kind of keep my brain ticking over. I'm teaching myself Turkish on Duolingo at the minute. So if you are on Duolingo, I would love some passive accountability. I'd love to build a little mini Duolingo community on there. I'm loving it at the minute, and it's really, really good fun. But less of that and more onto today. These are some notes I've been taking with my little digital stylus, which really handy, saves me having sheaves of paper everywhere and goodness knows how many notebooks and diaries that my wife is very patient with. She just stacks them all in one bookshelf. Often so tight that I can't actually get any of them out, but that's how many of them there are. I like to write stuff down. That's just kind of how I process things, lists and pen in hand. But I decided actually I need to combine a bit of efficiency and enthusiasm and creativity here. And this one is, as you can see from the title, the Language Teacher Toolkit. It's a really, really good book. Maybe at some point I'll get a chance to talk to the two gentlemen, Gianfranco Conti and Stephen Smith, in person, maybe have them on. And pretend that we're a proper YouTube channel and just kind of get them to talk at me, just like waves of wisdom on a beach washing over me. But I've come across tons of stuff. I kind of started with the oral work, which is a theme of my classroom. It's something that I really enjoy as an MFL teacher, quite different from other subjects I've taught before, that we can kind of just chat and talk. And asking each other how the weather is 500 times is actually quite a useful thing, and it's enjoyable. It's quite, provided it's in a different language, of course. It's just quite a nice, quirky aspect of the MFL classroom, and it keeps me joyful in the miserable November and December and January weather. I get up smiling. I enjoy my job. But these notes here are kind of the start, really, 2 or 3 pages into that chapter. And I wanted to just make some comments about the questioning, because I think questions are really important. Reading this book has confirmed that to me. 2 aspects really that I'll cover in the video. The one is the hierarchy of the artificial questions. And this is something that I've found frustrating in the past, where I've unconsciously got it wrong. Maybe I've made a sentence builder that hasn't included the progressions, or I've just dived into a topic and I've basically straight away asked a middle ability kid, why do you like lions? Or something along those lines. They use the example of lions down here. Why do you like lions? Without realizing, without thinking, again, I'm not a veteran teacher. I haven't sat down and thought through or had the experience to think through. Little Timmy it just doesn't have he might understand the question, he might have the listening skill, but he's not going to be able to give me spontaneous, unscaffolded responses. And so that's been the first point that I found really helpful, is the hierarchy of questions. First of all, the importance of questioning, the artificial questions and a dialogue of back and forth, very structured, almost childlike questioning is actually really helpful, and we shouldn't neglect that. And I think that's where I've possibly been at fault, is that I've just neglected. I've moved beyond it, and I'm expecting my students to be able to give me kind of more complicated answers, or just to respond, rather than realizing actually at this point their ears probably could benefit from me asking the question and then framing the answer with most of the question already present, so that the answer that they have to give is maybe a yes or a no or a true or a false or a lion or a tiger. And that's, as you can see here, you move up from yes, no, true, false, either or, multi-choice, question word questions, and open-ended questions. And really, most of my students, even at some of them at sixth form level, at A level, but most of the GCSE open-ended questions, they need quite a bit of scaffolding or stuff on the board to help them. Something I have found with open-ended questions is you should give a similar answer And there's scaffolding there, but you're not giving them the answer. So there's still a bit of creativity. They're still getting used to using the brain and recalling things and putting stuff together on the spot, without any pressure, but they're still having to think through and put stuff together. The other one is kind of verbal feedback, orally helping them build the answer and then going away to another, and then maybe coming back and like, can you remember the answer? And that's something here, returning to a student, that's really helpful tactic, guys. So don't be afraid to kind of be like, okay, we'll come back to you, maybe in the target language. You could have that as a classroom instruction on the wall. Go to, boy, girl, boy, and then come back to Timmy. Timmy, what do you think? And at that point, he's hopefully, if he's been listening, he's hopefully had a chance to pick up what others are saying, so he'll still be able to produce something. And again, I think I've neglected the importance of that for someone like Timmy. I'm picking on Timmy here, but that's really important for his language learning, is to hear others and maybe even just repeat and copy. But that's still helpful for him. I was jumping the gun. I wasn't, putting myself in their shoes as a language learner, perhaps, and thinking, okay, maybe they really would benefit from just overly repetitive, slightly progressive in terms of complexity, slightly more difficult questioning. Maybe they really do need that hand-holding to get to the end point. And this, I decided to actually write this down because I thought to myself, I've noticed this, my brain likes it, I want to remember this. Sod it, let's just write the whole thing down. So I've got it in my notes. And you can see here, is the book blue, yes or no? Yes, the book is blue. Repeat that back to me, the book is blue. Okay, good. Is the book red? No. Is the pencil red? Yes. Or maybe no. Yes, the pencil is red. Repeat. And so that question progression, you're seeing it building up all the time to the point where we've even got prepositions, location, it's on the table. In a language like German, there'd be a direct object there. It would change from der to den. And they're just repeating it and they're hearing it. And I really like that. I like that something so simple and something so repetitive, just with, again, 5 minutes of planning, I can actually get a significant chunk of my lesson in the target language without trying to reinvent the wheel. As a language teacher, I can help my students just with basics, basic repetition, maybe even if the sentence builder on the board. Maybe I just need to be a little bit thoughtful in advance. And I appreciate when you get into the middle of the term, you're going through the ringer, it's often the last thing you want to do. But hey, maybe you could get some highlighter pens. Maybe you could get some cuddly toys. Maybe you could get some different colored paper. I don't know. Maybe you get some props, basically, is what I'm saying, like a football or whatever, just to add that extra element, extra sparkle to your presentation. I've got a black pen here. Is the pen blue? No, and they can see it. You catch my drift. So those have been the challenges for me to reflect on and to think about. Won't really go beyond that, except this is what I've highlighted. Maintain second language, the target language used during lessons whilst you're building up lexical and grammatical knowledge. I never benefited from an explicit grammar instruction, except when I noticed something and I needed to learn it. And often that wasn't at the same order or the same time as the teacher. I'm a motivated student at that point because I want to find something out. What I did benefit from was a metric ton. Quantity has a quality all of its own, to quote one of the most hideous dictators the world's ever seen. But quantity has a quality all of its own. And that has been super helpful. There's bulk repetition and choral repeat with teacher-led progression in terms of questioning, to the point that I'm gone from yes or no as my answer to yes, the book is blue and it's on the table. Well, that's progress, isn't it? And yet it's so simple, and I love that. I wouldn't say it's necessarily low prep at the beginning. I'm still getting my head around this in terms of I've got, I don't know, Spanish zoo animals or French cooking. It's not blue books, black pens. I need to sit down and do a little bit of a think. And also, it's not necessarily low prep if you need to maybe get some pictures off the internet, put them on a PowerPoint slide, have some props ready. There is a little bit of thought there, but I think in terms of the demand is still quite low. So big fan. Thank you, Gianfranco. Thank you, Stephen. I'm going to continue. I've still got some notes down here, but for the time being, I'm going to keep reading, keep making notes. Thank you very much for writing it, gents. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.